seeing all the spring break stuff, and the last place I would ever want to be is Fort Lauderdale or Miami. But I get it.
God.
Like you were talking earlier, I get it. You're younger, you want to go. Totally, that's all cool. Yeah. I just don't want anything to do with it.
I mean, but you remember too, we were all, 18, 20, for us it was Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a difference in what you're experiencing between a crowd at Disney or even Universal and a crowd in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, because that's even like what's happening there is not stuff that I want to be a part of at all right now. I enjoy a good drink. I enjoy hanging out with my friends. I even enjoy the beach. I don't want any part of that craziness.
Spring break has always been
Spring
chaos.
break is, you go back to the movies of the 60s, for instance, and that might have even sparked it.
The city of Fort Lauderdale is once again under fire from the north.
Join the fun as the gang tears loose where the boys are.
The 80s. How many spring break movies were in the 80s? But then more recently in the 90s, MTV, Spring Break Weekend, and it glorified that.
In the 90s, I used to work for it was a racing company up in New York, and every year we would go to Daytona in February for speed weeks. Yeah, we had the big ass cameras and the mics and the mic flag, and I made a MTV mic flag, and we just went down there with the camera on the beach with the MTV mic flag, and worked out pretty well. Actually,
freaking amazing!
And
that's brilliant.
Stolen valor.
I don't think you can say it. I don't know that I want to know what you got people to do with an MTV mic flag on Miami Beach.
I can imagine.
Dude, 1992, 1993.
That was the time.
In Daytona, no social media. And man,
you're a rock star.
So I guess the last 3 years, Miami had put in a state of emergency every year for the last 3 years because it's just so out of control.
I think back to when I was a teenager and I was in my early 20s, and there are some of the most fun memories that I have where so many things went wrong, but the memory and the story wouldn't be there if things hadn't gone sideways. The story wouldn't be the same if you hadn't got stuck sleeping in your car because the hotels were all booked up.
That's a great perspective.
But those are those experiences.
Right.
I would never discourage anybody who would ever want to experience spring break to not do spring break.
But you say you shouldn't stop people from going, but that's exactly what Miami's doing. This is last year.
Miami Beach after years of scenes like this.
See, that's just crazy to me.
That
Miami
is
Beach is telling spring breakers
absolutely unnecessary.
This isn't working anymore.
And it's not us. It's you.
The city is even putting out this public service announcement.
You just want to get drunk in public and ignore laws.
Last spring break was one of the most unruly ever, with 2 murders, including...
Oh, Jesus.
2 murders?
Murders?
The city of Miami Beach is currently under a state of emergency.
That's insanity, man. I mean, when you go down there to have a good time, you freaking get shot.
St. Patrick's Day is coming up, which means bar crawls, which I personally think are the most bullshit thing. But again, I'm 56 and I've been on bar crawls, so I'm the guy that's going, it's nonsense.
It's a mixed bag for me because because Charlotte does a big bar crawl, and I've had coworkers that are mutual friends that have gone and they're puking in the porta johns, and that's not fun. Like, come on. But
you know what's not fun until you're our age. You're like, why?
Well, it wasn't fun back then. We just thought it was.
Well, yeah, right.
But at the same time, in New Orleans, they do a pub crawl. But what it is you're going around, you're sampling different places, you're meeting new people, and you're learning a little history.
Are you walking that?
You're walking.
But so it's on your own accord. Like you're like
no. It's you have a tour guide with you, and you have like 4 or 5 specific places you go, and you might have a beer or like a shot or something, and then you're learning about the history. And what happens is that I've done it twice in New Orleans, and both times, like there might be a group of 10 people, and you come in as strangers, you come out as best friends for one day.
I agree with you 90%. There's 10% of me that says if you're in a tourist destination with the purpose of trying new places, then it can be cool.
But the ball crawl where you spend $100 to have a little ticket to go to all these different places with a bunch of fucking people you don't know.
Yeah.
And you have like 15 minutes to get off the bus, get a beer, get back on the bus.
However, let me say something.
No,
though.
I agree with you.
Am I the asshole?
No, the majority of no, you're not the asshole. You're the practical human being that says, you know what? Do I want to pay all this money to stand in line for hours to watch a bunch of inexperienced drinkers puking in and around me
and get a Miller
just get
Lite
annoyed
and get a cup of Miller Lite?
It goes back to what we're talking about with spring break. If I sat here right now and I set up and my soapbox and said, fucking spring break sucks and it's horrible, but I never went to spring break. No, it's bullshit.
Right.
I'm not saying like things like bar crawls and spring break.
Right.
I think everybody should have an experience, whether it be good or bad, and do that.
So the bar crawl is really only set up for first timers.
Yeah.
Like, how many second timers are on a bar crawl?
I know a couple.
But here's the genius of it. The bar crawl knows every year there's a new 21-year-old.
Well,
I think I've only ever been a part of one official bar crawl, but I used to work.
And where was that?
It was here in Charlotte. But I used to work with about 10 to 12 people from Ireland. So just about every night after work was a bar crawl. When it's like this official bar crawl that's happening for St. Patrick's Day, you get a whole new wave of people it's their first St. Patrick's Day of being 21 years old. And they're super hyped to get out there. And it just turns into just this this tragic vomit-covered mess of people trying to hook up while still drink their money's worth and all of this stuff. And it's absolutely insane, which I feel like was almost every night of drinking with the Irish, but I wouldn't trade that for the world.
Like how many younger people have done more than 3 bar crawls?
I think what it is because it's so oversaturated. There are thousands of people. You know, it's hot. Typically, it's hot. You get inexperienced drinkers that are throwing up anywhere. And let me tell you something. Nothing's like a party until somebody's puking to your left or to your right.
You're not going to beat the bar crawl. The bar crawl is like a Vegas casino.
I was just about to say that.
You are never going to beat the bar crawl.
Analogy.
Yeah.
But you're never going to know that until you've been beaten up 3 years in a row.
Yeah.